Laura.
Yes.
Laura? Okay.
Laura. Or Laura. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
My mom was one of those people that's like, your name is Laura. And I was like, why? Why does it have to be that? She was always particular. And then growing up, I'm like, I answer to bruh nowadays. So I don't really care.
All right, cool. All right, fam. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining me today. For people who may not know your specific background, can you give them a little intro, a little elevator pitch of sorts?
Yeah. Hi guys. I'm Laura. I am a jack of all trades, master of none, dabbler of all things. I am a mom of two, and it has been quite the wild ride to a point where I created a social media channel talking about being a mom, and then have transitioned through several different things. I have run 2 different podcasts, and one of them is still going. And right now I'm really pushing the BookTok world. So it's been a wild journey.
So why content creation? Like, was that like a trauma response?
I don't know. Maybe it is. Actually, in all reality, I think that it's because, and this is going to sound, I guess, kind of selfish, but I really like being in front of a camera, and I always have. I've always been the loudest person in a room. I've always been the one that everybody is like, I'm standing right next to you. You don't have to yell at me. It's always been kind of the same kind of response. And instead of just doing that with people directly in front of me, it felt more important to use that in a message kind of way. And I didn't truly understand how to combine a message until I took some speaking classes, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I realized that, yeah, I can do this. I can put this out there, and I can push forward through it. So I think content creation, it just kind of also like scratched that itch of being creative. And I've always loved being creative, but I never knew what fit the most. I liked drawing as a kid. I loved taking pictures. That was a really big thing for me for a while. So I've always kind of had this creative itch, but with the way that the world has shifted and the way social media came about, it just kind of felt natural to do this.
Mm-hmm. What kind of speaking classes? Like, what did you learn? Like, what did you learn there that made you think afterwards, yeah, I got this?
So it's kind of a crazy experience. It's actually one where I met an amazing individual who changed my life in this regard. I went to a women's entrepreneurship conference here in Salt Lake City, and I was doing massage therapy at the time. And I was like, I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to be like this badass businesswoman. I'm going to do these things. And I sat there and I was like, none of these people are the same as me or like trying to build the same kind of business that I am. And it felt very superficial. And I was really, really struggling. And like none of their practices were going to apply to anything that I was doing. And so I thought for sure this was going to be a little bit more of like, you know, these are the things that you need. This is a great marketing program. Do these things. But it was a different kind of event for that. And I remember sitting there, and then this lady got up and she goes, you can use your voice. And I was like, what? And she started talking about speaking and how important it was to be articulate and how important it was to add certain things into the conversation that I was like, oh, okay. Like, well, I had already run one podcast at this time, and I had stopped due to some like social media pressures and a couple other things that were happening in the world. And I was like, I'm going to step away from that. And then when I met this woman, her name is Julie May. She's absolutely fantastic. And she just really spoke to me. And I joined her speaking competition. I was like, I know how to do this. This is nothing. And by the time the speaking competition came around, I got up and I spoke about hunting to a room full of energy workers. And it was probably the craziest experience I've ever had, because not only was I sharing an experience about going up on a mountain and hunting and like the whole thing of how this was transpiring, but like I had the whole room watching me and like focused in on what I was saying. And I ran out of time. And all of the judges are like, will you just finish? Can you finish the story? Can you finish talking to us? And I was like, sure. And I was like shaking like uncontrollably, right? Because it's like your first time up on stage. And I remember them all looking at me and being like, even though you ran out of time and you're not going to the next level, that was amazing. We all want to talk to you after. And I come off the stage and I'm crying at this point. And I had several of them pull me to the side and they were like, that was fantastic. You need to speak. You need to use your voice. You need to relay messages to people, even if it's just like reading off of the back of a milk carton or something. Like you have a presence and it's very, very dominant. And we think that this would be very good for you. And I'm like, okay. So it led into trying to use this speaking training that I had won, or like partially won. Not that that part matters, but I started doing the speaking training and I learned a lot more about how to use your voice and the right way to use your voice. And it was really cool. It was a really great experience and it has transpired moving forward and it allows me to look at things differently than I had in the past. So every time I hear other people speak or I go to an event, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. These things. Cause like your brain kicks into all the things that you've learned and it's like, oh, here. Da, 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 da. So it's really fun. It's really cool. And I will preach about going to Julie for any kind of speaking training because she's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So your, I guess, return to doing another podcast, starting content was on the back of this.
Yes, it was. I think I started it, I think it was like 2022. So it was like 2021 was the end of 2020 was the competition. 2021 was when I started working with her. And then I went and competed again and I won the speaking competition in 2022.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Very belated.
Thank you.
So how has that been now? Fast forward to 2025, you read books, you make content, you do a podcast. You're still a mother of two kids. How has all that translated to now? Like, what have you learned in that time?
Oh my gosh. I've learned that you can't predict shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so true. Predicting things is very hard. The moment you think that you're on a specific track, something from left field can come in and just completely derail you. Or a thought can come in and completely derail you for a week. It could be something that shifts everything else in your life. It's always to be moving. I think is like the biggest thing that I've learned is to keep moving and to adapt and to push forward regardless of what's going on. My youngest son has a lot of needs. I don't want to say special needs because it's not the same thing. He has been a challenge, but he's also been a fantastic reward for motherhood because he had pneumonia 3 days after he was born. And then we contracted colic and reflux. And then we had to have surgery at 6 months. We had to have surgery at 15 months. He had his own language, but wouldn't use like real words until he was 3. We cried through the night for the first 2 years of his life. And I think that on top of wanting to always be doing something helped a lot in that, in life, and seeing how that shifts, because now like he still has high needs. I would classify him as basically being like a high functioning. If he's on the spectrum, he's like right on that line. And he's also got mass amounts of ADD, and it's a lot to have to work through. So a lot of what I do like for me. And then I have the side that I do for my family, and finding a way to make that balance is where that whole, like, you know, you have to have that fluid movement and being able to adapt quickly, because there could be a day where I can't do something anymore because I'm needed for my family. So kind of trying to make sure that like everything is cohesive. I think that that's probably the most important thing that I've ever learned through content creation, through making money online, through being a mom, is that you just have to be ready to shift, because everything adjusts. And every time I felt like I'm in a groove, we take a sharp turn. We take sharp turns.
Yeah. Yep.
But
that's fair. I think that's a great way to put it, is needing to be flexible at any given time, given family's a lot.
Oh, it is.
Family's a lot. Like, even like I would never compare my life to a life with somebody with children, but even just trying to work around things that I want to do for myself, working, and then also spending time with my wife. It's like, you really have to make sure you're on top of things, because once you add so many things to the mix, a lot of things slip. A lot of things have the capacity to slip.
Absolutely.
And you're teetering on this like little tightrope of like, everything's balanced, everything's good. This week was awesome. We got everything. Everything was done. Nothing was missed. And you're like high strung, really tense. And the next week comes and you're like, shit, I got to do it again.
Yep. And it's like, okay, what did I do last week that worked? Right. So I'm always assessing, and I live in like a worry brain. So my brain's like, well, what if? And I'm always on this what if track. And so I'm like, oh, this week was great. Everybody got to where they needed to be. Everything was good. What if something happens? What if this has to shift? And then it's like, okay, so what did I do that worked? And I don't do this all the time, but like, you know, in that moment of clarity where you're like, oh, this worked, then I can kind of shift, and when I need to. So not only am I trying to balance the things that I want to do, what my husband wants to do, what my 2 kids want to do, but I'm also juggling sports on top of that, where I have now been asked to be an assistant lacrosse coach for my kids. So I'm balancing that on top of content creation, mom life, book, podcast. It's like,
how do you prioritize for people out there who are in a similar boat, right? They have a family, but they also have their own personal aspirations, their own personal goals that maybe you want to try and do them in tandem with growing your family, instead of, you know, the traditional sense has been family first, everything gets dropped, parents just dote on the kids leave, then parents are like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Like what do we do now? But then there's this newer concept, idea, thing of people trying to like continue on with their life along with trying to raise their kids, and like, as much as they can, that I've seen most people always prioritize family over their own personal things, but to the extent that you can, you know, kids sleeping, you go do your work. Kids up, you go to kid, things like that, right? But how do you how do you prioritize, or like what systems do you have that kind of help you prioritize in ways that things don't get slipped?
The first 5 years suck. There is no sugarcoating it. There is no sugarcoating it. You are in this position where your kids are so dependent on you, right? Unless you're in a position where like you both are working or like whatever the case may be. But the moment that if you're a woman, so your female listeners out there, if you're a woman and you are a stay-at-home mom, you are so needed for those first 5 years. It is so crucial. And it is very much family, 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 family. And I got to a point when my oldest was about 2.5, I think. And I had just had my second, and he was getting close to being about a year. And I had hit the bottom of my barrel. And kids were fed, kids were bathed, and they were watching TV 80% of the time. And that's about as far as I got in my life. And I remember my husband coming home from work one day, and I said, I need to talk to you. And I pull him into the bedroom and I said, I just need you to know that I am not okay. And he goes, okay, what do you need from me? And I said, I just need you to be there for me when I start to fall apart, because I'm going to the doctor to find out what's going on. But I had enough recognition in myself to know that things were not good and things were not okay. And I wasn't taking care of myself. I don't think I'd showered in a week. Like I wasn't taking care of me. And if I had showered, it was because I had bathed a kid with me. Cause you know, at that age, like you do what you can. And I had a 6-month-old baby. So I would just shower with him if that was the situation that needed it to be. And he goes, okay. He said, I'm here for you. I'm here if you need something. I understand that this is something you need to do for yourself, because I'm a very independent person. And my mom had warned me before turning 25 that this was something that could happen. And it had happened with 3 other family members and like extended family, that at 25, we tend to hit the bottom of our barrel. And I was like, I'm halfway through 25. I'm making it. I'm doing it. And then all of a sudden, just whoom, straight to the bottom. And it was very fast. And I was like, I can't live like this. I can't keep wallowing like this. And I went in and, you know, they do all your checks, and I got diagnosed with anxiety, depression, clinical depression, delayed postpartum, and ADD. Because at the time they didn't have like all the little extra classifications there.
They hit you with the Infinity Stones.
Oh yeah. They're just like,
okay, really?
It was great. It was great. It was a fun little reality check.
They said, choose a card, any card. Actually, here's like 7 cards.
Actually, here you go.
They're all yours.
I know. It was like, how many suits can I pick all at once? This is great. Okay, cool. And at this time, I was not breastfeeding, so I could be on whatever medication I needed to be on. And I know that that can be a hard thing for some women who are still breastfeeding. They have to be really cautious about the type of medication that they take. So and this was like right before my son was getting ready to have his surgery at 6 months. So, or like shortly after. It was like right in that cusp. I have truly blocked out so much of that in my head because of how, I guess, traumatic it was, because he was just such a hard baby. And then going through what I was going through, I'm like, it's like, the Crudes. So I live in one-liners. Okay. My life is full of one-liners. If you have seen Crudes where they wake up and it's after they have had like, the corn and it's all popcorn and they all pop out and they go, still alive. That is like the epitome of how I was living my life at that point. And at the end of it, I was like, we're still alive. We're still here. Because there's just been so many hard moments. And that's why you have to dodge, you have to weave, you have to be able to move with the flow. And I think that, you know, when you go through something like that and you have to focus in on family, once things start to settle, it's hard to re-find yourself. And I refound myself through reading, and I was reading at the time. And I've always enjoyed reading as an adult. I hated it when I was in high school. But as an adult, I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. Like, I mean, I read Harry Potter, I read Twilight, I read Vampire Diaries, but it wasn't like I was consuming all of the fantasy books that were out there. I was consuming.
Right. You weren't like hunting for books.
Yeah,
and
I wasn't.
You weren't like foraging. You were just like, oh, this book is in front of me.
Yeah. Like right now where I forage.
Where you have a color coded, background.
I know.
Of books, which I personally not decided to conversation because I want to get back to it. When I see people with walls of like color coded books, not like, not Dewey Decimal System of a library, not like by author, not like by type. It's just colors. I'm like,
how do you find what you're looking for?
How do you find anything in there?
I know. Okay. So with these ones are all sprayed edges right behind me. And I know what they are based off their sprayed edge. So fair. I could go through this, and I think there's only like 3 or 4 that I don't really know the title of, but I know what book box they came from. So for these ones, I'm like peachy keen on.
So imagine, I'm visiting.
Yes.
I'm like, yo, I want to grab a book. And you say, okay, cool. Go to Blue Shelf Book 7. And I look at Blue Shelf Book 7. Is it going to be the book that you're thinking that you're recommending me?
Yeah, it will.
Damn. That's fire.
I know. There's only a couple of like places, and this plays into ADD. So I have a very chaotic memory, but my husband and I call it organized chaos because I know exactly where it is because I put it there. But the moment my husband touches it, I'm like, no. That doesn't fly. He tried to come in here and move some things around before. And I'm like, don't you dare. And I've caught every single one except for one. And it was because he switched my Red Rising books and that was it. And I was like, that's not enough of a difference for me unless they're in like a set. Right. And they weren't really in a set because I didn't have them all at the time. But with everything else, I was like, don't touch my stuff. I know where it is. I know exactly where it goes. It has a specific place. I know where things are. And then he moves something and I go, you touched it. And he goes, no, I didn't. I go, you're a liar. I know you did because my organized chaos knows that things have shifted. And he'll tease me if I go out of town and he goes, oh, I wonder what books I'm going to move. And I'm like, don't you dare. It's a great time. But
it's funny. I'll do the same thing with my wife when she's like, she'll come in here and want to grab a book and then she'll read the book for like 5 minutes that night, then never touch it again. So I'll just put it back on the shelf. That's just how it is. I've accepted it. But she had like 3 books in our bedroom over there, just like spread out. And I take the dust jackets off them. So there's just like, it's just the book, the hardcover, whatever it is. And so she's like, what? Wait, she's like, what book is it? Oh, I'm like, oh, that's Divine Rivals there. She's like, no. I'm like, yes. She's like, no. I'm like, that one right there is Divine Rivals. This one right here is Seventh Son. That one right there was Fire. Like I can tell her which one's which. And she's like, I don't believe you. And I picked up and showed it to her. And I was like, don't test me. My brain knows these things.
Yeah.
I've had this book for 2 months. That's it.
I know. But even then though, like the moment that it's in my house and in my hands and on my spreadsheet, because I am that person. I have a full spreadsheet. I have it marked. If I read it, I have my my ranking on my spreadsheet. Like I have all these things. But which we can get into that too, because that's an ADD brain moment. But
we're gonna get there.
It's like, I know where it is. Or at least I know a roundabout shelf because this is not my only library. I have 6 additional bookshelves upstairs in my house that are almost full.
Oh, that's
so
not envy inducing at all.
And I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 just on the floor around me right now. Wow. That haven't found their home yet. But like, this is like more decorative.
How has your husband not argued with you about the books?
Because he likes to fish. I said, how many Dodgers did you lose this weekend? How many lures did you buy this weekend? Oh, okay. Cool, bro. Cool. How much in gas did you put in the boat? Oh, okay.
That's so good. That's so funny. I have to do the same thing though, because when I do buy books, I tell myself, don't buy any books. You shouldn't buy anything right now. But as soon as
Book buying bans are for losers.
As soon as I feel myself pre-ordering something or buying something, I'm like, okay, cool. You cannot tell her not to buy anything.
Yep.
Of equal emotional or actual monetary value, because you just did the thing that you told her like we shouldn't be doing.
Yes.
So I get that. I get that 100%.
Well, and it's funny too, because it's like, I looked at it that way for a little bit, and then my husband goes, "Oh, happy wife, happy life, fine, whatever." Like, yeah. At this point, he just doesn't bat an eye anymore. Mm-hmm. And this only has been accumulating since 2023.
That's fucking insane. You know why? Because this has been accumulating since 2022. Now, I have moved around a lot, so I specifically didn't buy books. So I had to move the books.
Oh my gosh, can we talk about that for a second? Moving with books is probably the hardest thing in the entire world. It is the most expensive thing ever. I'm petrified.
Like you need crates. Like what? I was watching Emma Skies when she was moving, and she's like, I have 51 boxes of books. Oh my god. I'm like, I had 7.
The thought, though, of packing up boxes, there's a part of me that's like, can I just take the bookshelf and we just like hold it on its back and then just shuffle it out? Because I don't want to do that.
Like, can we just like put the tape all around the bookshelf?
Oh, please.
Like the wrapping or whatever it is.
Yes.
And then just like go like that and then just take it out or whatever it is.
Do you know how heavy that is too? Think about how heavy one box of books is. It's astronomical.
And that's okay. Realistically, it's 2/3 books and then 1/3 clothing for packing.
Absolutely.
And that's still so fucking heavy, depending on which books you put in there.
And not only that, but you're like taking like clothing and like stuffing it into the corners of the box so that it like doesn't shift. And you're like, okay, remember, brain, this t-shirt is in this box with these. So when I go to unbox, I remember that that's the shirt that's on top. It's just... I'm so afraid. And I know that we're probably going to be moving in like the next 2 years. And I'm petrified because I know how many books I've accumulated in the last 2 years.
Yep.
So I'm like,
yep. The amount of Lowe's and Home Depot large and XL boxes that we're going to have. And, you know, we're not even sure. It's going to be expensive depending on where we're moving, but it's going to be another trailer and someone's going to have to lift them. And I'm going to try and help. And I'm going to tell the dudes like, I'm sorry, but these books got to go. And I don't, maybe some of them that I don't like anymore, I'll just donate back out kind of thing. I'll do like an unhaul.
Peace be with you with that, bro. There's no way. I can't.
Well, no, with yours, I get it. With mine, it's these bullshit book of the month romance books that were dog shit when I read them. Disrespectfully to book of the month.
Disrespectfully.
Like they were so not fun. So I was like, okay, cool. There's at least 5 or 6 right there that I'm like, those are going.
Facebook Marketplace. Do you know how many books I bought off Facebook Marketplace just this week?
I don't use FB Marketplace. My wife likes to. I, for some reason, can't trust it. I've been scammed once on there in my life. And ever since then, I've never had a good feeling about it.
You're missing out, my friend.
I tried to buy a shotgun, like a microphone. Not a gun. Like a shotgun microphone off Facebook Marketplace. But literally the day that I had planned with the guy to meet up, it started torrentially downpouring where we were for 2 days. And so we both just ghosted each other essentially and I never got it. But before that, the only other time I tried Facebook Marketplace was trying to get a washer dryer unit. And then I got scammed.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, cool. And that was right when I'd moved into my new house in 2023. So I was like, okay, cool. That's not fun. My wife, though, has had very good luck on Facebook Marketplace because whenever we sold things, she would always use hers, not mine. And when we would buy things, like our coffee tables from there, a couple of our dressers and like side tables are from there. So I'm like, okay, cool. There's stuff here. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I do actually want to have a home gym at some point, and at that point, I will just probably use Facebook. If I can remind myself, you don't need new equipment, you just need working equipment, just get it off of Facebook Marketplace. I think certain things like books and stuff, I don't know. I'm the kind of person who likes stumbling upon a book that I want to buy. Like I like to go to a bookstore and then just like find a book versus, go online and like get the ones that I want, because I could easily do that.
This was my book club book for this last month. So we do a regular book and then we do a side quest. And this is our side quest. I paid $5 from Facebook Marketplace and I went and picked it up. 3 days later, she had listed more books and I went and I picked up 2 more books from her for $5 each. This on Amazon is like $10 to $11, if not a little bit more.
Damn, I'm fucking up, guys.
I know.
Okay.
Facebook Marketplace is like the shit.
Fair. I will start looking at things that aren't tech on there.
I always, when I look first, I'm like, okay, how much is this on Amazon? Because I refuse to buy a used book for the same price that I can buy it on Amazon.
Fair.
So you have to kind of vet it out. But Facebook Marketplace, I bought so many books from there, and like Goodwill. That's where my library started. So when people talk about like wanting to build a library, start there, because like you said, people go and they donate them. Like the books that you were just talking about donating. If you can't sell them after a certain amount of time, donate them. Sales. Yeah. All the time.
I've always gone to those like libraries. And I always look at their $1 shelf and I'm like,
oh yeah.
I don't want to buy a book just for the sake of buying a book though. I think that's also my thing of like,
they're two different habits, my friend. Buying books and reading books.
Exactly. So like I everything on this shelf is something that I have or will read. And so for some reason, I just don't want to go and like, just, hey, here's 10 books. Yeah. I'm never going to read them in my life. I will tell you right now, I will never read these in my life, but I have them. I just don't, my brain can't like sift through the logic on that.
Yeah.
But
I will never be able to read. I'll never be able to read all the books that I own. Ever.
Yeah. That's sad.
I haven't read most of these. And I'm also petrified to read special editions because I'm like, no, I can't ruin it. That's signed.
Oh, no. Those I just wouldn't touch.
Yeah. They just sit on the shelf, look nice and pretty.
They just
I
look
find
nice,
them on Kindle.
and that's what they're for. They're trophies.
Yes, they are. Anyway, really quick. Do you want me to go back?
Yeah, go ahead. I was actually going to say I do want to go back to that, and mainly I wanted to say, I didn't know about a lot of these mental issues that women go through post delivery.
Yes.
Until this year, when my wife and I were having a conversation, I think in like July, about it, and she said, yeah, a lot of women go through depression, postpartum issues, physically, mentally, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's only because, we never said anything people never said anything in previous years, decades.
Yep.
Thinking that like, I shouldn't feel upset. I just delivered the gift of my life or whatever it is.
Right.
But she's like, no, they go through so much.
So much.
And so when she said that, I was like, holy shit, that's so true. And I just want to say I appreciate you, and then other women out there actually talking about this, to at least give like notification to the matter that, hey, this is a thing.
Yeah.
This is a thing that you need to consider. And for men out there who are saying they're trying to be good husbands and good fathers, that's one of the places where you're needed.
Yes, very much so. Because when you deliver, you are going through mass amounts of hormone changes. Your body is going through changes, and like getting pregnant is so much fun. And like you watch your bump grow, and then all of a sudden you're 6 months postpartum and your body's just not the same. Nothing is hanging where it's supposed to. Things are trying to become friends with other things. And you're just like, what is going on? And not everybody's body will like bounce back. You've stretched your skin out. I've got stretch marks. And I've got like different things, and it shifts a lot of things mentally. And especially in a day and age where like social media is so strong about appearance, and Utah is like one of the leading states in plastic surgery. And it is so ingrained to us here that like, you're always playing the comparison game. It's always keeping up with the Joneses. It's always, oh, well, she just went and got a mommy makeover. I want a mommy makeover. And it's like, yeah, that'd be fantastic. But at the same time, like, I have body dysmorphia. So it's a little bit of a stronger problem with physical appearance. And if you want, we can get more into that here in a minute. But once your body shifts and changes, it's really, really hard to look at yourself the same. But then you're like, but I have this miracle. But what happened to me? And then you get lost for 5 years. And then you start trying to I remember sitting down with my husband being like, hey, what do you think I enjoy? What do you think I like? What do you see me gravitating towards? Because I couldn't see it myself. I couldn't see what actually made me happy. I couldn't see what made me spark joy. I couldn't recognize it enough in myself to a point where I had to ask my husband, hey, help me out here. What are some things that you see? What are some things that you know about me? And he goes, well, these are the things that used to bring you joy. Are you trying to find the things that make you joyful now, or things from the past? And I was like, I don't know who I am anymore, because all I've been is mom for the last while. And I'm just kind of struggling. So, my husband is a big outdoorsy kind of guy, and he was, big in the hunting industry. So we had an archery shop. And because of that, I was like, I'm going to try and lean on your hobby to see if it will help my hobby. And maybe we can do this together, because he was spending so much time in the mountains. I was like, well, maybe this is the right spot for me. Maybe I need to be in this as well. And, you start dabbling. And, I interviewed some pretty big hunters. The podcast that I ran was called the Hunting Widow Podcast. And I would talk to women about the hunting industry and how they got involved. And I interviewed some pretty big names to a point where then I started getting some hate online and got some kickback. And it's not fun. And if people think that the book industry is pretty bad, the hunting industry is worse. Extremely. It's very divisive. You're either with it or against it. You don't have very many people in the middle, and the people who are against hunting are relentless when they choose to speak forward. And I was getting some private messages that I was like, I'm not comfortable with this. And I would take my kids out and take pictures of them while we were out camping or hunting or whatever. And then people started coming after my kids. And that was when I was like, they didn't choose this. We're going to step back. After 100 episodes, I stopped. And so I was like, you know what? This just isn't where my heart lies anymore. And this isn't what my kids chose. So I stepped back from that. And my husband was really great. He was there while I would record, and he would help me with the kids and that kind of thing. Or I would go and just hide up in our closet and record in the closet. But once that shifted and I became mom again for a while because my husband started traveling for work, I lost myself again. And I'd moved away from a place that I'd lived 28 years of my life. And I was like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to be anywhere else. I don't know how to adult in a different place. It was really hard for me. And I finally fell back in love with books again, and did the mom life thing where I was like, I hate cooking, but I'm going to try and post recipes, which shifted into started shifting into books. And then my BookTok account and my mom life account kind of just took off. And finding the balance of that, though, is hard, because you go through so many stages. And I'm going to refer back to this every chance I can, because it's so true. You have to learn how to follow the flow of your life, because there were days where I could make a video about cooking. And then there's other days that I couldn't, because my kids were just going crazy. And I was like, all right, it's not today. Even though I wanted to record this recipe, it's not today. And I still hate cooking. Don't get me wrong. I have 22,000 followers on my mom life page, and I still hate cooking more than every fiber of my being. But I was doing it to try and push myself. And now I'm just like, nah, man, I'd rather talk about books. Give me all the smut. Let's talk about what's on the page. Yep. And that comes with its own challenges.
Who was fucking who today on this Thursday evening? Whose knee is touching whoever's knee? What's happening here?
Yeah, no, for real though. And it's like, you know, with talking about books and talking about smut in general, you have to have this level of just, I don't give a shit. I don't give a damn. My give a damn broke. And I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. And I think that's another big thing with content creation and as a whole. There has to be a level of that. There has to be this level of, I don't care. This is something I love. This is something I'm going to talk about. Because I've had friends be like, how do you talk so nonchalantly about on-page spice? And I'm like, because it's there. And I'm not going to hide what I'm reading. I've never hid what I'm reading. Maybe a little bit to my kids, you know?
Yeah.
But
fair.
I don't, when I'm talking about stuff online, that broke. But other people that I know were really hard on it. It was really hard for them. They were hard on it. It was hard for them, mother of pearl.
Smart on the brain, actually.
Because they didn't want their family to see what they were talking about. And I was like,
that's fact.
This makes sense. But at the same time, do you think they're going to bring it up to you at a family event? And how often do you see them? So why does it matter? You have to weigh out the pros and cons of your life of like where your give a damn is. Mine, that scale's gone. There is no more scale. I talk about what I want to talk about, and I hold back on the things that I don't feel like need to be addressed. And yeah, just trying to, and then finding that groove is like just finding balance.
You know, there was the thing that the friend said about, you know, I can't talk about these things online. I have family watching.
Yep.
That's very difficult to get over.
It
As
is.
somebody who's still trying to get over it. I think over time, I give a damn has lessened on certain topics, or not even topics. It's the way I speak. Because initially it was, you know, I grew up in a pretty conservative household in the sense that like they didn't like us swearing. They didn't like, my parents didn't like loud noise in the house. We didn't really yell, things like that. Didn't really run in the house. We're very like quiet, calm, civil type. And I wasn't the loudest. I was loud outside of the house, not in the house. And then when I was loud outside of the house, I was told to quiet down. When I was loud inside the house, I was told to quiet down. So when I started this stuff, I was like, okay, cool, quiet down. Also, I do speak pretty not a sailor mouth to that extent, but I say shit. Like I like using certain words.
They're sentence enhancers. We just sprinkle them in.
And initially when I had started doing this, and I know that like my parents would have tried to watch either a podcast episode, or at that point it was BookTube first, then a year later it was a podcast. But I'm a drop profanity when I'm talking about books and things like that. And so I don't think they were used to that. And, you know, there was a time they never really confronted me about it. I never really asked them about it because I didn't want them to watch it anyway, because I knew that would be the conversation. I was like, I'm making this for everybody else, not family.
Yeah.
But if they want to watch it, they're going to watch it. It is what it is. So I had to slowly get out of that like thing of like, you know, if they're watching, that's cool. This is my life. This is who I am now. And I can't really, if I police myself like the way I felt like I was policed as a kid, I'm still repeating the same thing, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, to people who are faced with that, I would honestly recommend the same thing of like, you like pick your battles, right? Like,
absolutely.
There are topics that I don't like to talk about specifically, right? Because I'm not as well versed. Growing up, I was never well versed in politics, and therefore I don't talk about politics. But I talk about a lot of other things, and I'm also growing into things that I want to talk about. We never really. This is going on a tangent, but I'm gonna take us there. So, you know, we never really talked about world issues in the house like that. So I never really talked with friends about world issues and things like that. And so now when I'm doing the podcast and I'm watching videos and I'm trying to read literature and I'm trying to my eyes are open to the world, it's like, I kind of do want to talk about this, but I feel like I can't because I don't know enough. I don't know the history behind it. I don't know what's happened in the previous years. I don't know the big players. I don't know like all these things. But then to learn all that would also be like, okay, I need to spend time learning all this. I need to wait learn before I can speak on it.
Yep.
And so just now, I mean, men's mental health has been one that I've been speaking on a lot, only because one, I've gone through it, and two, I've also been exposed to it. But through what my wife tells me, like women's mental health and or the issues that women face, etc., in many different aspects of their life, the things of certain things in the economy, etc., like that kind of stuff is actually hitting my brain now, I think, because I broke down more of that, like, I give a damn.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. I want to talk about this. We're going to find a way to talk about this, etc.
Yeah.
The other thing was one of the factors of married men feeling lonely over the years has been part of this, in this pregnancy timeline of once a woman gives birth, there's so much quote unquote value for the woman because she's the one taking care of the baby, breastfeeding, cleaning, etc. The guy tries to help, etc. Maybe he's working and she's a stay-at-home wife, whatever it is. She's spending so much time with the kids, taking care of the house. He's working, etc. And men have said to feel very useless in that time. Like, I don't know what I can do here. I don't know how I can help here. Like,
yeah,
she's better at this. Maybe I'm messing up. I don't know what to do. I'm not there at the right times, etc. I don't know what to do. I feel so useless in this time, and she's doing so much, and I don't know how to help either. And the example that you gave, or less an example, more of an anecdote of going to, like, a husband going to your wife and saying, "Okay, what do you need me to do?" I also find that question, I've heard it put this way, and I actually do agree that question is a bit selfish, because I'm asking you, on top of everything that you're doing, also figure out what you want to delegate to me, as opposed to me observing, using my human eyeballs and my working brain to see, okay, cool, what are things that I can do to pick up slack?
Mm-hmm.
And I will go with that to her and say, okay, you're swamped. You're not okay. We both see it.
Yeah.
We can talk about that at a different time. How about I do these things this week, this month, whatever it is, and we'll work on it together, etc. All those things, right?
Right.
If men already aren't doing that, I need us to start doing that.
That needs to be something that happens before she has a baby. Okay. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if my husband had done that to me at that moment, or like when we finally moved into this house, if he was like, I see you're overwhelmed, what can I do? I'd be like, just pick a thing. Why do you have to ask me? Just pick a thing. The dishes are not done. The dishwasher is full of clean ones, and I haven't been able to touch it yet. The dog poop in the backyard needs to be cleaned up. I have a disaster in the family room. But at the same time, right? So we have these moments where we just like all of a sudden spike off. But at the same time, this was me, okay? I'm speaking from my personal experience. If he went in to clean up the family room, I would have been like, bro, I needed that stuff. Like, that's what I was coming in for because of my organized chaos. So my brain now is different than it was when I had kids. But like, there were times where like, he would just kind of come up and take the kids for me. And it was fantastic. It was so wonderful. It was so helpful. And like you said, see a need, fill a need. But there are those conversations that need to start being had before a child even comes into the picture, because I was I had hit the bottom of my barrel and I was very triggered by those kinds of questions. And I literally would be like, pick something. Just pick something. At this point, I don't care. Just pick something to help with. But now it's like, bro, the dishes have been sitting in the sink for like a week. Will you please just help me get dishes done? Or like, we can have those conversations now. But we were young parents. So I had my first when I was 23, and then my second when I was 24. They're only a year and a half apart. So where my brain was then to where my brain is now is a totally different spectrum. But, you know, there could have been some things that could have been like fights or blowups that could have been prevented if we had started having those conversations sooner, instead of me flying off the handles or even hitting the bottom of my barrel when I did. because you're right. And with men going to work, I see it. I understand it. It was really, really hard for my husband in the beginning of our kids' lives because he's like, I don't know what to do and I don't know how to help. And a lot of the times it was like, just hold the kid, just take the kid. But then the moment that they were 2 and they could run around and play, he was like there all the time participating in that. So the first 2 years are really hard because they are dependent on mom a little bit more. So that's when things get hard. And it's also hard from a mother's perspective to kind of relinquish that. To be like, okay, you can help here. Okay, you can do this. Because it's like you take on that first little bit of doing everything and then allowing the help. It's very catch-22. It's a damned if you do and damned if you don't kind of situation.
Truly, because I mean, if you're the type of guy who's been wanting a family and you're both, you and your wife have been wanting kids, and so now the wife's at home taking care of the kid and you're at work, you're like, I want to be at home with our child and I'm stuck in this fucking cubicle or whatever else I'm doing because we need money and we need this in order to take care of said child as well. Mm-hmm. But I want to be physically there. And the trade-off that historically has been on the man's side and it is now shifting to both parties with the trade-off of like both parents work or both parents do something to where they're not always physically around their kids maybe when they want to be. And the trade-off of I can't in the years that I have with my child before they're 18 and they go off into the world and become adults, I still can't be there for all 18 of those years because I also have to work to provide for them and help them survive, etc. And so it's got to be such a to your point catch-22, like you can't have it all.
No,
unfortunately you can't work your ass off for 4 years, have a kid, not work for 2 years and just you can be with the kid all the time and then go back to work type of thing. Yeah, for like both parents, somebody's got to work, somebody's got to do something. But
it would have drove my husband crazy too, because my husband's like, I can't just sit around all day. And I was like, well, welcome to motherhood. Mm-hmm. That's literally what we do all day. We sit around, but like we're doing things, but we're in the house 24 hours of a day. Mm-hmm. And my husband would go stir crazy with that. He gets cabin fever on a weekend. I'm like, bro, it's just the weekend that it happened to be. And he goes, we've got to get out of this house. And I'm like, you can go. There's things happening here. I have to be here. So it is that very fine line of catch-22 cabin fever moment. And like, if you are a woman in this position and you are getting the cabin fever, go to your local library. They do things for kids all the time. They have like kid hours and that kind of thing. Find a mom group that you can go out with, go on walks with, talk with. It's huge. You can do they do like some free lessons for certain things, depending on your community, but like look into your community, see what's out there. We have a Facebook group out here that's literally dedicated to moms where it's like, hey, I have kids this age. I need to get out of my house. I need someone to just come sit and talk with me. And people will just go sit at the park and talk because they need that. And like, they're like, okay, I have to get home because my husband's coming home. And it's like, I had that, where like your husband comes home and like, they're your person. There's a reason that you're with them and that you have kids with them and you want that. So like, you want to be home with them. But then there's days where you're just like, they're yours. Also, dads are not babysitters. I got corrected on that. I said, I need you to babysit the kids. And he goes, they're my kids. Why am I babysitting them? They're my kids. You need me to be home? I will be home, but don't call me a babysitter and don't say that I need to babysit the kids. And I was like, touche. Touche, my man.
I am very much looking forward to being or having just a couple of those experiences where the kid's like on my lap and I'm gaming and he's just chilling. Yeah. Or I'm reading and he or she is just chilling. Those kind of moments that I see online, I'm like, that looks fun.
They're great moments, but you have to
That
get
looks
through the
fun.
screaming to get to that moment.
Dude, I was telling my wife, I said, I grew up in a very quiet family. I don't do loud noises. And like, we don't slam doors. I don't make huge noises. Like, unfortunately, the house that we're renting right now has cabinets that slam just automatically, no matter how softly you try and close it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had to get used to that. But I was like, I don't know how I'm going to handle a loud crying organism. Because
I'm so excited for you to have kids.
I can't do loud noises. We're still gonna be friends by then. So I would be like, Laura, what the fuck do I do?
I know you're gonna call me and you'll be like, what is this? How do I make it stop?
They're still yelling. Like, it's gonna be crazy. But no, things like that both excite me and unnerve me. And
yeah,
I never wanted kids early. I could never be comfortable around babies and kids. I never wanted to hold one. I think in my life I've probably held a baby less than 10 times.
Oh, buckle up, Buttercup.
I was so scared.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm like, what do I do with this? Yeah. Like, same with like, I also never held like animals either. It's like, I don't like holding living things in my hands. Like, I never felt comfortable. And, but both me and my wife are like, we both didn't want kids early. She's in residency. We're still working. Like, we're still trying to do a couple of things.
Yeah.
But once we got married and I was like, okay, cool. Kids are a very realistic thing in our near future. Without me trying, my brain said, all right, time to do research, time to think about yourself as a dad or a husband, or like a husband with a child and all these things, or like, and all those things. Like, think about that. When I listen to podcasts or I'm watching videos online, my ears perk up at parental like guidance and things like that, or what they say doesn't work for certain people, etc. Just like absorbing all this information.
Take it all and throw it out the window the moment that child is in your hands. I'm going to tell you right now,
which is exactly what I've been told.
Yep.
And so that's why it's like, my brain wants, because I'm a very big ruminator and I just love, like, I'm also very big, like, knowledge egoist. Like, I just like absorbing a lot of things, thinking that it's going to help me in the future, and more than half of it never does. But it's like, oh, that's interesting to consider. Like, I tell myself, if I can at least figure out what I don't want to be as like a parent, that might at least make it easier in the moment of like, listen, remember you told yourself you didn't want this, or you didn't want to be like this. You weren't going to be a yeller. You weren't going to be like a rude person, bite your tongue, etc. All those things, right? But I say all these things knowing full well there's not a child in my future for the next like 3 or 4 years right now, and 3 or 4 years later I might be completely different. And I'll be like, fuck.
Yeah, you will, because there will be those moments where you're like,
all those things.
I said I would never do this, and I'm doing it. But the difference is that you're doing it your way. So one of the biggest things is that I was like, I will never let my kids do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Right. And I look at my kids now and I'm like, well, I do A, B, C. I don't do X, Y, Z, but I do A, B, C now. But it's like, they're done in a different way than it was when we were growing up. So especially where life is now and where technology is now, and in the 3 or 4 years that things are going to be happening in your life, you have to take everything with the biggest, fattest grain of salt ever, because you don't actually know what you're going to do until that situation is sitting before you. You don't know what your knee-jerk reaction to getting bit on the hand while you are on a shopping cart and your kid just goes, you don't know what your knee-jerk reaction is going to be until it happens. You don't know what your knee-jerk reaction is going to be when your kid comes up and slugs you in the face. You don't know what your knee-jerk reaction is going to be when your kid is hurt outside.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what your knee-jerk reaction is going to be when your kid is playing freaking Fortnite and he goes, oh, that shithead. And you go, well, used correctly, we don't talk that way. Like,
while I'm internally very proud, externally, no.
I know, right? So there's these moments that you truly don't know how you're going to respond to these situations until they are right in front of your face. And I always told myself that I wasn't going to let shock control my life of things that happen. Well, guess what? I sit in shock quite a bit with my children. And I go, maybe let's not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's not talk that way. But like a week ago, I didn't know how I was going to respond to my kid getting in a fight with his lacrosse coach. Until all of a sudden I'm over there and I go, no, you don't get to talk. The coach gets to talk first. Then you get to tell me your side. But there's just these things that in life, you don't know what's going to happen until it happens. I was lucky. I didn't have like crazy monkey kids. My kids didn't climb on everything. I didn't find them in the cupboards. I didn't have that. And so I thought I would because I was kind of a monkey kid, but like I didn't have that with my kids. I didn't know that my kids were just going to be freaking built like brick shit houses. Like I had no idea. I didn't know that my firstborn was going to be the most responsible human being I've ever met in my life, while the other one I can't trust with a 10-foot pole. I didn't know that.
Do you ever wonder if like roles are reversed and the secondborn was born first? If
I wouldn't have had my second. He was so hard.
No. Well, I know. My thing is like, does the weight of being the firstborn play a factor in their nurture?
I think it did. I think it did.
Because I mean, with so many siblings that I've seen, more often than not, the oldest is more responsible than the youngest because the youngest is sheltered by 3 individuals above them.
Yes.
And the oldest is sheltered by half, maybe. Because sometimes, your parents want the first one to figure it out. And then they know what to do with second. So, I can imagine like, always, if you ever plan to have a second child, it's almost like you don't know what to expect a second time, thinking you know what to expect because they're wildly different now.
Oh, they're
the
so
circumstances
different.
are so aggressively changed.
Yeah. And okay. If we're going to talk about this, I'm going to dive into this because this is something that I know for certain in my life. My first one, angel baby, slept through the night. Fantastic. I already told you my second one, we didn't sleep for 2 years. It was miserable. I block a lot of it out because I don't have the memory of it. My firstborn could tell you exactly what my second wanted. He had his own language. And he'd be like, like that's how he talked. He thought that was talking. He thought that he was communicating with everybody. He was communicating with my oldest child who'd be like, he wants that. And like he could translate for us. And I think he saw the troubles that we had and like just kind of like stepped in and was always like the helper and has always been that way. And I wanted a third and I wanted another one, but I also now look at it and I go, I'm really glad I didn't because we would have been totally outnumbered. And my second was so hard that I was like, I wouldn't have been able to have another one until he was 3 and was able to start functioning on his own. And I didn't want that big of an age gap. I wanted 6 kids. I ended up with 2 because the second one was just so much more of a crapshoot. And I'm not meaning that in a bad way. I'm meaning that in a way that like life was very, very difficult. And I know that this is an excuse that people give all the time. I know that other people have it worse than me. It's true. But your suck is just as important as somebody else's because you are living through it. It is what is personal to you. Everybody's going to have their challenges in their own lives. You just have to work through what is given to you, that is before you, that is on your plate. This is why we bob, we weave, we move. You have to adapt to what is happening for you. Somebody else has to be able to move and adapt to what is happening with them. So for us, he was so hard and it was so hard to bob, weave, move with him that we literally had like a structured life for him. And he couldn't lay flat for anything for the first 2 years of his life because his reflux was so bad. And it was like, maybe we got a night or 2 of sleep. And I was like, it's a miracle. I can function like a human being. And he would flip it around on me. So I think my oldest does have a little bit of that oldest child syndrome. And I say syndrome, it's not like an actual thing, but like he definitely holds that space of oldest child, because if I ask them to do anything and it's both of them, or I say, we do a lot of rock, paper, scissors at our house. And it's like, okay, rock, paper, scissors, who's feeding dogs? He'll just go and do it. And I go, no, I know that you will do it. I'm asking you to participate in this task so that it's like a consensus of what is being done. Because I don't want him to feel that he has that same kind of like oldest child have to please, have to do these things. And we work on it a lot with him, because
I was going to ask, how often do you like talk to him about it? Because
every day.
I can imagine that has to be a conversation of like, you're a child, you're our child.
Yep.
Thank you for all the help and everything like that.
Yep. It's every day. Yesterday, here's an example of what happened yesterday. We literally said, rock, paper, scissors on who goes lets dogs out, because somebody else had fed them. And he goes, I'm just going to do it. And he goes, we literally are like, no, you need to wait. We asked you to do this for a specific reason. And he goes, why would I do that if I know that I'm fully capable? And we looked at him and we go, both of you are fully capable. You're 12 and 10 years old. You both are fully capable of handling this task. But because we don't want to exactly pick one of you out of this, we want you to do this task to be able to do it. And he's like, okay. And then he'll come back and we'll address it. But like, I also tell him all the time, because he is more responsible and he really steps up to the plate and making sure that like he keeps his things relatively picked up. He is the one that's like the first person to be like, hey, don't talk like that. Don't do that. Don't do these things. And then I look at him and I'm like, I'm very grateful that you are as responsible as you are, but I want you to remember to still be a kid, because that's important. You don't get these years back in your life. Still be a kid. Still go have fun. You don't have to be kingpin. You don't have to do these other things. Go and have fun. Tell safety row that you don't have to play the safety guard right now. Just go play, have fun. See what that looks like for you. Let it just go. Because it's something that he holds. And I think that, that what comes with that is a little bit of anxiety when you don't have things that are unexpected things that come in. So he holds the unknown makes him anxious.
So I'm a second child. My older sister, I love her to death. My wife is a firstborn, and then her brother is the second child. So me and him see eye to eye on a lot. My sister and my wife see eye to eye on a lot. And what I've really noticed with the two of them is there's a level of, I need to be the caretaker. I need to be the glue. I need to, like, it's on me to make this work. That, just recently I had a conversation with her and I was like, you need to not older sibling me as your husband.
Interesting.
Because the things that she does out of care, right? Like, what are you going to eat? Whatever it is. Because I'm a very go with the flow kind of person a lot of the times. Like, if I want a meal prep for a week, I will. If I don't, I'll be like, I'll just figure out food when I get to that day. Because I eat when I want to, and then I work and all these things, and whatever it is. And so she's like, okay, well, you're not eating on a regular schedule. You're not taking care of yourself. So I have to. And I'm like, well, the thing is that I work on my own timeline. My family has hated me for this for years. I say hate loosely, but like whenever they tell me to do things, I'll be like, yeah. Whenever they tell me to do something, I would always say, oh, yeah, I'll get it done. But then I would get it done 3 days later when they wanted it done that day. Something like that. Just because my brain was like, it doesn't need to be done right now. Let's go do something else. So my timeline is almost always later than somebody else's. And so I'm not thinking about what I want to eat on Wednesday, on Sunday. I'm like, okay, Sunday, Monday, maybe Tuesday max. And when Wednesday comes around, I'll figure it out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And similarly, and so I was like, what you're doing, and one of the things was she had played a very, very strong, vital role in how connected I was with her parents, because I don't call often. I'm just not a caller like that. I don't call my sister often. I don't call my parents often. I love them. I'm not hey, how's it going every day kind of thing. But her family's more close knit. They call every day, talk and call every day. So over the years, she had to like kind of talk to them and say, listen, this is just how he is. It's not that he doesn't like you. It's not that he doesn't want to talk to you. He will call when he wants to. And if you want to call, you can, but he's just not someone who like will talk every single day. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not how he is. And so they would always ask her, how is he doing, etc. Why is he not talking? Or if I go visit their house, there's a lot of times I'll just like read on the couch and I'll chat in conversations. But if the conversations aren't interesting, if it's not directed towards me, I'll read and then I'll pipe back up.
Yeah.
And she'd have to like filter that. And I told her, I was like, you need to stop filtering now, because what you're doing is now you are sheltering me and them from the discomfort of facing each other. They say that I don't call enough. I don't call enough. But there's no conversation happening between me and her parents. It's always going through her. And I was like, you need to stop sheltering me. Yeah. Because I could see the eldest sibling thing in that. It wasn't something else. It was like, I feel like you're trying to be the glue in all these things because you think if you don't, it's not going to happen.
Yep.
And I noticed that with my sister as well. Like, she's the one who would always like tell me if my parents were scolding me or reprimanding me, she'd be the one to like try and explain it. Or she was the one when we were like more adults and I was in college and she was working and she was like, and I still harbored resentments from childhood. And she sat me down and she was like, have you ever thought about their experience of their immigrants in this small Caucasian town? Do you think like the racism that you face in school, what if they faced it and they never told us about that in work and all these things? And she was trying to like make me understand because they never had that conversation with me. And so she kept playing big sister. And it wasn't until the past few years where that kind of caught up with her. And what I see in a lot of older siblings is there's a level of attachment that they have to the parents as well. Of like, I want to make sure my parents are happy. They got to be taken care of, all these things. So my decisions impact them. Therefore, I don't make decisions unless I work clear with them. If they're upset about my decisions, I don't go do it. Yep. And then that creates a level of stress, etc. And so I noticed a lot of these things in older siblings as a younger sibling, because I was always like, yeah, I don't stress. I literally didn't feel stressed for so many years until I lived on my own, and I got to like do things for myself.
Yeah,
and I was like, you need to let me do things for myself. And I at least appreciate when I hear you say that you actually have the conversations with your son sooner rather than later. Of like, you're doing a lot, you're picking up a lot. Thank you. Not your job.
Yeah.
Your job is to actually be a kid. And when parents say go be a kid, go have fun, I have a bit of skepticism sometimes because I'm like, how much of that is thinly veiled coded of also be responsible, also get your studying done, also, do what we told you to do, but also go have fun, stay within boundaries, etc. So
we should talk about boundaries next.
Oh my God. I got
my own theories on boundaries.
I got to bring you back on part 2 for that, actually.
Oh.
But I think we're learning so much more recently, both societally and even through the medical field of child rearing, like parental obstacles. I know people still try to release like books and guides on how to be the great best parent and all that stuff. And to your point, it's like you could read all the books in the world and all that stuff's going to get thrown out the door as soon as you have a kid, because you're not going to know how to handle it.
No,
because you never have. And you can't be like,
by
well,
the second one,
I
you
remember
still
this.
don't even know what you're doing.
Exactly. Like I saw this example on page 35 of that one book. So let me try that solution here. Failed.
Legit.
Did not work.
Because
they're still crying.
Their reaction is going to be different.
Yeah.
It's more predictable when they're newborns than it is when they actually start getting like their own behaviors and they start giving like their own mannerisms and they start like embodying who they are. Mm-hmm. And I think with a lot of that, we talked about losing yourself as a parent, specifically women. We tend to lose ourselves for the first like 3 to 5 years of any child's life. And if you're having kids back to back to back to back, you literally are all in motherhood. That's like what you're doing. That is your job. That is your life. And when you start to come up and breathe air and like start being like, oh, well, what do I like? Like things shift. But, I had a point. What just happened, brain? I'm glitching out now.
Too much podcasting. Too much
hell.
talking.
No, it was such a good point. It's like one of those things where you should write it down, as you're like thinking about it.
Well, it's one of those things, like, even if you say it, like, there's been so many times when I'll say like really interesting things on here, or somebody else will say it, and I'm like, fuck, what was the thing that I just said? Once I turn the camera off and to like write it down, and I'd have to like go back and listen to it. Or if we talk off recording,
oh my gosh, it happens all the time.
I'm never gonna remember it.
I never remember off recording ever.
The amount of times off recording conversations are so much more. Like, I'm like, this should have been recorded.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Oh, I have it. It's back. Okay,
go.
So, once they start like embodying who they are and you start finding yourself, I make it really an important point for my kids to know that normal is overrated. Because they're like, well, like, what is normal? And I go, I don't know. What is normal? I am a weird person to a lot of people. I may talk about all these things about parenthood and all these things, but like, I'm a weird person. I have a very eclectic music collection. I have a very eclectic book collection. I like weird things, and I'm okay with that. And I like to jam out with my kids. If I acted the way I act with my kids sometimes around my mom, I will dance in grocery aisles. I will be that person belting music from my car when I pick up my kids. And I'm like, listen, you just know that you have a weird mom, and that's okay. And they're like, no, we love that you're weird. And I go, it's better to be weird. It's more fun. And I think that that's something that we need to embody a little bit more when we talk about parenthood and like the things that like you said, like we said, that when you read something and you're doing all this research and it just goes out the window, it's like, still be true to you though. Find out who you are, find out who your kids are, and have fun with that, because your kids will learn more if you are you and you are having fun with it. Like I have to get like mad and frustrated with my kids. We do, the biggest punishment at our house is losing privileges. Losing privileges is you lose your tablet/phone, because my kids have phones that are like tablets. So that goes away. Then you lose the right to pick a show on the TV. After that, you lose the right to watch the TV. And because like a lot of our things centralize around that, especially with my younger, the moment that he gets the ability to make a choice is taken from him, he loses his marbles. Like he's like, okay, I'm sorry. I take it back. Because he is very much a kid about choice. And if it continues, then, he loses art, because art is like his go-to. And so like you have these different things built up, but I'm also that person that like, even though we have to have a very serious conversation, I'm going to make you laugh at the end, because I want you to still end on a happy note. We need to bring this back to being happy. And it's the same thing with speaking. When you talk about something low, you have to bring it back up. When you are talking about doing things in life, in a book, you ending on a low, somber note, you have to bring it up. You have to end things on that up and up. And I have taken that truly to my life, and have made that be something that's important to me, to find something that we connect with and that we can love each other and still come back together, even on a hard day. Even if I am just absolutely frustrated to the gills, sometimes I have to take a timeout. I go, I need a 5-minute timeout so that I can cool down, so that I'm not flying off the handles.
Right.
So I think that, when we talk about reactions to kids, and we talk about the reactions that we would have and how things fly out the window, and it's like losing yourself, you can also find yourself in your kids and make it fun, make it weird. Why not?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like I would look forward to seeing the person that I am with a child versus the person that I am now, because they're going to be different.
Yeah.
Not to say that I actively try to avoid myself from planning who I'm going to be as a parent, and just kind of projecting my brain out there to see, I wonder who I will be then. What I will be like. Will I I was telling my wife, I was like, I'm gonna really need to cut down on my swearing, because the way that I'll just use it as like a general word, like a filler.
Yeah.
I actively know now you're gonna need to calm it down. I don't know how or when. Maybe it'll click at that time, but you're gonna need to calm it down just a little bit, because like I talk the way I talk now because it's what I know now, but what I don't want is them to talk a certain way when they don't know. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and this was actually a really great conversation because we both have speech impediments to an extent. We both used to stutter and still stutter, and I murmur, I speed through all my words, all these things. And we had talked about how maybe in the past, where if you have some certain things like this, if you hear certain words outside that you want to know what they mean, but you don't want to say them, but if you come home, like I would never be able to go home and ask my dad, what does fuck mean?
Yeah.
What does shit mean? Like, what do these words mean, without the fear of, why are you saying that? Where did you learn that? Like, don't repeat these things, etc. Right? And
we had this conversation not too long ago with my kids.
Yeah.
Well, specifically my oldest.
Well, which is around the time where they're more exposed to those words anyway.
Yeah.
And people around them using it more often than not. And so I think about things like that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about books. Okay. I'm hard changing this because I do also want to talk about books. And this previous topic is already one that I've noted down for round 2. What are you reading right now?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I showed you my book, Still Beating. I'm reading that one. That's my side quest for book club. It is a very hard book. It is full of trigger warnings. So if anybody is going to pick it up, you have to be prepared for that. But I did just finish a book yesterday that's called Praise by Sarah Kate. Loved it. It's book 1 in the Salacious Players series. And the premise is that this guy is a sex club owner, and he likes to give praise. So it's a dom sub situation. And his son's ex-girlfriend shows up for a security deposit, and they think that she's there to work as a secretary dom sub situation. And they misread it. And then all of a sudden she realizes that this is something that she's actually interested in. So it's a very interesting take, but it was so good. I give it 5 stars. Blew me out of the water. Wow. Scenes in that my husband would enjoy without ever reading. And then as far as my book bro side of reading, I'm currently reading Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, okay.
Hard left turn. I read it all. And I think that's probably one of the hard things for someone who runs a BookTok is when you read it all.
When you don't niche down.
I don't niche down. I read everything. I love everything. So it's
I think at that point, it's like that the signal you're sending somebody who may be wanting to follow you is, listen, I read everything. So you're going to get everything on here, which means you're here for me. You're not here for romance books only. Yeah. You're not here for sci-fi books only. Right. You're not here for lit RPG only type, or you're not here for me talking about this one single book and my entire account is dedicated to this one single book, right? You're and that's the signal.
It is more romance geared. I will say that, because that tends to be what I read, romance and romantasy. But I do love a good high epic fantasy that just like sucks you in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just finished reading 2 books that are releasing in October, and one of them was like, I read it and I was like, this is the most fun I've had reading like all year. It was crazy. And now I'm reading a more technically like a more technical lit RPG where I'm like, I gotta think. Yeah. I need to figure out what these words mean.
Oh, my brain.
And like with these words in this order. And then I've been told that I need to start reading Red Rising, which I don't want to do immediately. So I'm going to open the book on September 30th. I'm going to read a chapter and say, okay, cool. I read a chapter of Red Rising for September. That is my September book of the month. And then I will probably pick it back up in November after 10 hours of work a day is over.
Stop it. No. No. I am going to tell you no, because you have to hit the halfway point. Book 1 is kind of hard to get through, but the halfway point, everything changes.
No, but the thing that I want to do with Red Rising is what Baba did with, like, I think Akatar or whatever, where he went like chapter by chapter summaries.
Okay.
That's what I want to do. I don't know if I will be able to, or if I do, like, I will do maybe more segmented, like here's the section that I just read and here's what I think. But to do that, I need to be able to, like, be present, take notes, read, and enjoy that process, and not feel rushed. Like, oh, I only have 30 minutes until I have to get back to work. Let me just read through this and then not remember what I did. But I think I've read like 5 books this month already, which is crazy.
That's amazing.
That should not be happening in September and October for me. I'm an accountant. That should not be happening right now.
Yeah.
But every morning I wake up at 7:30 and I don't have to get to work till 10. And I'm like, almost 2 hours of just a book, and that's it. So
yeah,
that's exciting.
Well, I think that's a good idea. But I think the moment that you hit halfway point, you are going to be, there's a fly in my house. Go away. It's like right in front of my face. I hate flies. Kids have left doors open. My smoke alarm was cheering me on last night while I was making dinner. See, case in point, I hate cooking. But I think you're going to hit that halfway point and you're going to be like, I can't put this down. I can't.
I might. I honestly might. I'm looking forward to it.
It's so good.
Because I mean, there's so many other books coming out this year too that I'm like, I can't afford to have Red Rising envelop my life, because what we have,
there's
Strength of the Few coming out in November.
Yep.
That's honestly the biggest one. The other ones I've already wanted to read this year. I already have. I got lucky with getting a couple of arcs for books that have already been out. So, I can't afford to have a book take over my life. Now, I'm looking forward to it, because when a book does take over my life, I'm pretty good at, like, sharing it. Yeah. But I can't imagine what that's going to look like if I read Red Rising. Because I've been reading DCC, and
I can't wait for that one.
I don't know if it's the pseudo hipster in me of, like, I am reading a very popular book and I do actually genuinely enjoy it and I have a good time reading it, but it hasn't, like, taken over my mind as so many people in the comments had said it would be. Like, so
it's not like a Roman Empire kind of book for you.
It's not for me. And I don't think it's because, like, I don't think I got my expectations too high. I think people said it was going to be good, and it's good. I've been doing the audiobook. It's great. All that stuff. But I think just, like, taking a step back from it, I'm like, it's good. Yeah. I'm not obsessed though. But there's been other books this year that I've been like, I've been obsessed. Yeah. You know? And so.
Well, let's talk about hype here. Because the hype that can be found on BookTok can absolutely break a book for me. It can absolutely wreck it. Mm-hmm. Divine Rivals was that book for me. Everybody loved this.
I thought I was going to hate this book, which I read this book thinking, like, I wasn't hate reading it, but I was like, I'm gonna finally read it 2 years later after everybody hyped it up when I first got into BookTok in 2022. I was like, I wish I would have waited.
I wish I would have waited. I read it in the middle of the hype. It was like, everybody was like, after you read Fourth Wing, you have to read Divine Rivals. It's the perfect book to go into after. And I was like,
that makes no sense. That makes no fucking sense.
No, it made no sense. And it was so aggravating and so frustrating. There is this part of me that was like, y'all ruined this book for me.
Yo, I would have reported that account.
I would have liked it outside of this. Because it's a fun one. It's a low fantasy historical romance. Yeah. So good.
It's so good.
I'm coming off the high of the 5-star read of Fourth Wing because it was something I hadn't read in a really long time, and I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I am one of those people who will 1000% say that reading is subjective. I will never tell you that you will rate a book high if I rated it high. I will always tell you it is how I rate this book, and it's based off of how I got sucked into it. It's all about the vibe for me. And I'm a very, very technical reader. So if like I have problems, like you best be believing I'm taking notes if I've got problems. But that's also part of being a reviewer. When you do ARC reviews, when you review for BookTok and all of these things. But you're telling me that I'm going from Fourth Wing, which I waited on the hype for because I was like, I don't know if this is worth it. And then I went right into Divine Rivals and I was like, what did I just read? I just went from this epic dragon story to Divine Rivals, which was the slowest read I could have gone into.
I got hit with the same thing. So I read Fourth Wing before I got hyped up, and then I came across somebody's video saying if you read Fourth Wing, you should try Fireborn. And I was like, okay, cool. I think somebody may have sent me that video too, and I read Fireborn, and I was like, this is nothing like Fourth Wing except for the fact that there are dragons.
Okay, there's so many people that do that. Ugh.
And I'm like, what the no, this is this political dragon fantasy with no magic is not the same as Fourth Wing.
We have a hard time about like lining things up. If you want a book with this, then read this. Like we have a hard time making correlations in this world. No, because I could
just be like, well, if you read fucking Tim Fasciola's Eventual Realm, you should read this literary RPG because they both have weapons.
Literally though. Literally.
Oh, you should, if you read One Star Romance by Laura Eakin, interesting, like weird irony, you will love fucking Starling House. Like,
yeah, no. Starling House is like dark gothic, isn't it? Dude, like gothic academia?
Yeah, probably.
I've never read it, but I've heard it's good.
I tried it twice. I tried reading it a shot twice. Then. Same with like Hellbent, or not Hellbent, Ninth House.
Yeah, I just bought Ninth House.
Book, and I tried reading a couple of pages, and I was like, nothing that what's going on here makes me want to continue reading this book.
Yeah.
And the only reason I read Ninth House is because I wanted to read Hellbent because the book cover was so weird and I was so intrigued by it.
Yeah.
That's the only I wanted to read book 1 to see what the fuck book 2 is about, is all I cared about, and I couldn't get to book 1. And I was like, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
You know what is a good correlation are like Viking books, right? I feel like if you're going to do a Viking book, you can make some comparisons, or like pirates. There's some good comparisons down pirates. But for some reason, when we are talking about fantasy as a whole, it is really hard for people to be like, if you liked this book, you should read this book. If you liked this book, you should read this book. It is very far and in between on what actually lines up well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've read the Viking book of John Gwynne, right? Shadow of the Gods.
Right.
Such a good book, but I'm going to tell you right now, I had to do it in audiobook because I can't read Viking words for shit. Bro. I can't read them. I make up my own words. And then they're like, oh, well, it's this person. And you're like, wait, what? Hold on.
So these two books right here, right? Children of Ragnarok and Bane of Asgard, Cinda Williams Chimo. This is her foray into Norse mythology. And she used to be like an urban fantasy, like really good, like YA author. And I had to force myself through book 1, Children of Ragnarok. And I got Bane of Asgard when it dropped, and I tried to start it and I couldn't. One of the things was because of that reason, because of using Scandinavian words that like don't replace brother with brother. Like I can't look at brodier and say brother and like just have it roll off the tongue. Like every time a word comes, it blocks me, and I have to like compute 2 times more just to like have it flow the way I want it to flow.
And it throws me out of the story, which means that then I'm not enjoying it and I'm not getting the vibe. So for me, I have to do those ones in audiobook, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is for my brain. Now, there are some romantic-y style ones. This fly is seriously, it like wants to be my best friend. No, suck.
I always wonder about that when bugs follow you around the house. I'm like, are they like signaling? Is this like a fucking a B movie thing? Like, are they trying to take me somewhere? All these things.
I don't like it. It drives me crazy. But so let me show you 2 books that I feel like actually go together. Okay. So you want a good Viking book that's got some magic in it that you actually can read, has some Scandinavian moments in it, but like are actually consumable, but are also fantastic in audiobook. These are the two that I would recommend and shout from the rooftops. This is a special edition, but this is The Road of Bones by Demi Winters. It is very technical, but also very good and is consumable. You do get thrown out a little bit with some of the words, but it's not too bad. But one that would go side by side with this is Broken Souls and Bones by L.J. Andrews. Now, obviously, these are both written by women, but they are both fantastic stories. And they both have that Scandinavian feel without throwing you out of the book. I don't feel like it's too much, because unless that's like the style of book that you are reading, like, and you can hang with that, I just can't hang with that. These were two that I could still hang with.
Yeah. The, one of the ones that I just read, Ironbound, which is like crazy how good it is.
Yeah.
They use Latin words in their book. So they use words like core and rasa and like other shit that I can't remember. And he italicized those words in the book. Yeah. So my only gripe, even though I gave it 5 stars, was like, just don't italicize the words. Yeah. Don't let me know that these are different words. Just make it part of your story. I don't care if you ripped it from Latin. Yeah. Just make it part of your story, because I don't know and I don't care.
Right.
But he didn't replace already common words with like the Latin variant in the sense like heart is necessarily core, but it's not like in Scandinavian where like sister is sistir, where it's SYSTIR, where it's like breaking your brain to try and like put those two together. Like I want to say mother, not modir, or like whatever it is, right? Like they're so far different, and so that's why I wish more authors would do that. Either don't italicize it, don't make me think like don't make me like, I don't want to pay attention to the word. I just want a word to be a part of like your world. Will of the Many did that really well. But yeah, when certain words like that, they just like break my brain. I'm like, I'm so not having fun right now.
Yeah, it's hard. And I don't like being thrown out of a story like that. If I have to sit every single time I read your story or I'm reading a specific word, if I have to sit and phonetically sound it out in my head, it'll throw me out. If I have to make up my own word, I still get thrown out.
Are you someone who can like paint the pictures and the images in the movie?
It's a movie.
In your head?
It's a movie right in front of me.
So that's why, like, when I come across these things, it's like the movie starts buffering.
Yeah, literally. It's like,
and
it's like Wi-Fi is down.
Bro,
Wi-Fi is not.
It's
not
like
working.
it's like 144p. You're like, you can't see anything.
We're in 8-bit. That's what it does.
Oh,
it changes me down to 8-bit. I go, wait a second. Hold on. We just went from Super Mario to 8-bit Super Nintendo Mario. Like, we are not in the same vibe here. And so it's like thinking. And then I finally get the word, and then I come across it again and I go, what did I say? What it was in my head? What did I come up with? And then sometimes I'll just skip it when I get to that point. Like if I'm halfway through the story and I go, I just don't have time for this.
Yep.
I'll skip it. And then I feel like I'm not reading every word. And then you have the people who are like, well, if you don't read every word and you're skim reading, then you're not actually reading. Well, if you're listening to the book, you're not actually like reading the book. You're listening to it. It's like, but I'm consuming the same thing. I might have just shifted some things in my own brain, or I had to listen to it because my ADD kicked in. It's like, what do you want from me?
I will skip pages of just walls of descriptive text in certain books if they're too purpley. Yep. Like I have done that. I've just skipped. I'm like, where's the next piece of dialogue? I don't give a fuck now.
Yeah, you lost me.
I was talking to Andy Pelican earlier on Monday about Ironbound, and I just asked him, like, how fast what's your speed for audiobook? Brother does, okay, if he wants to listen to the actual performance of the audiobook, 1.0. If not, if he's reading, if he's immersion reading, so for people who don't know, immersion reading is listening to the audiobook and reading the book at the same time.
Yep.
He goes 3.0 or more. Between 3.0 and 3.5. I'm like, bro, I'm a 1.7 enjoyer, and I leave myself there. Even though my eyes still wander faster than the audiobook is going on 1.7, I leave it there because it's like a good like walking pace for me to like a natural pace. But I was like, I thought I was a fast reader, and then he hit me with the 3.5. I'm like,
I would die.
My brain will melt.
I think that I've been able to consume things faster because of TikTok. I'm not going to lie. That 2X and being able to hang with the 2X, I'm like, oh, I love that. Get me through this.
I see, I don't know if it's like just me or some videos that I see. I feel like people also automatically like try and speed up their videos a little bit more too.
Yeah.
Knowing that somebody else is going to hit 2X anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, your voice doesn't sound like this. Your voice sounds like you're speeding up the video after you recorded it.
Yeah.
But like, I would rather have your natural like voice and then I speed it up to 2X versus you're speeding it up to 2X for me. Because
what if I didn't get it at 2X? Maybe I needed to go back. I was like, well, maybe I missed something and I go back into the video and I need it at 1X.
It just doesn't sound natural.
No, it doesn't.
Like give me the choice.
Yeah.
But who do you like to listen to on BookTok?
I'm very wishy-washy on people that I follow. Because I don't love BookTok drama. I don't like it. I stay away from it for the most part. But sometimes like the drama of Silver Elite, for example, where everybody's trying to figure out, did AI write this? Who do they think wrote it? Where are these other things coming from? I have my own suspicions because of a video I saw and I actually went and like double checked it. I believe that I know who the author was. But you know, you truly don't know. So I like that kind of stuff where it's like all speculation, but then I don't like the over drama of like, this person wronged this person and this person did this. And can you believe what's blowing up? And with all the stuff that's been happening recently, I'm like, just give me good content. Give me some recommendations. That's really all I want. And right now, I actually haven't been consuming a whole lot of BookTok because it is so, I want to say toxic and negative right now. And it doesn't matter where you sit on, because there's so many political things happening there. It doesn't matter where you sit. It's just a toxic place. And so I found myself trying to just kind of like not consume content that way recently. I find myself scrolling, but and then I get off and I'm like, I didn't like anything. I didn't follow anybody new or anything like that. But there's one girl.
I almost never am on the FYP. I think I'm almost always on my friend's scroll.
Yep.
Because I at least appreciate that there's two different tabs for that, where Instagram is bullshit and it makes you like click the Instagram logo to do that. Yeah. And then Twitter, I deleted it from my phone finally after years of other like my friends doing it. And I'm like, I think it's time for me to do it. But I only go on there to see, okay, like what are y'all posting? Yep. Kind of thing. And I'll listen because I am not the biggest. I'm not the most community involved. Like I'm not going to comment on everybody's video. I'm not going to do your follow for follows. I don't like those kind of gamey things.
I don't do those either.
I just like, yo, D posted something funny, comment. Bob posting something funny, comment. Tim posted something, repost because it's Tim. Yeah. And Laura posted something, I need to watch the entire thing because there's something here. Type shit. Always. So that's what I appreciate. But yeah, to your point, like almost every video that I see that I can, like at the beginning, I can tell this is not about book. This is about drama next. This is not about book. This is about drama next type of thing. There's some things that I do when I see them. I'm like, this is also something that I could give my input in, but will I? No.
I don't participate in any of those discussions either because it's that situation of you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I would rather be a damned if I don't individual right now. And so I stay out of a lot of it.
I watched this gaming streamer who's pretty popular, but one of his rules is like, we don't bring politics and societal issues into the stream, like in the chat. We keep it about games. We're here to have fun. We're here to talk about games, talk about the game that we're playing, other games that we played, etc. Maybe we talk about like things that are happening in the gaming industry, etc. But we don't bring politics and things like that here. Yeah. We're not saying that they're not important. We just don't want that here because you get it everywhere else. Yep. And that's kind of how I see my page now is like the videos are just about books. Like, and I also don't, I don't read every book thinking, what are the political nuances of this book? Or what is this trying to, like, is this conservative? All that stuff, right? Some people do, and that's great. Have fun.
But again, that's why
don't.
reading is subjective, because that is something that they're looking for in that book, or it is something that they pull from that book. Something that you pull from Red Rising might not be the same thing that I pulled from Red Rising. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that you've read that you pull is going to be different than what I pull. We're in books for different reasons. And I think that that's why they're so important, because everybody can relate to something different in a book, or a different character that's written in there. You know, there could be something that is political in nature, but somebody's like, I'm not here for the political agenda of this book, but I can still follow what's happening with these characters. So you can follow along that track. And I think that that's really important, that people just kind of need to remember when they're reading. And if your book is political in nature, then you have the choice to decide whether to continue reading it or not. You're in charge of your own reading experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think, like, you know, when I was rereading Will of the Many with Tim, and the Will of the Many is a book that's just riddled with societal and political commentary mixed, I also have it like right here. Wait, where is it? I think it's like right there.
There it is. There you go.
With the original book cover.
Mine's a little higher. Mine's original too.
And did you see the news about them offering the hardcover where you can like flip the book jacket and it'll be like the classic cover along with the new one, so you can like flip it over and it'll be for book 2 it has like an orange cover, please? But no, that's how they're selling it. They came out with like I don't know. I think the paperback is still the new one, but with the hardback. If you pre-order something like that, like it's the reversible dust jacket or whatever, which means as soon as I get it on video, you will see me just flip it around and say, we're not going to talk about the other one. We're not going to talk about the other one.
Yep.
But that's a very political and that's a book heavy on political and societal commentary. So when we were reading it, Tim like pointed out like, this scene and the things that he says here, it sounds like he's like, it's really similar to things that are going on in our real world right now. And I'm like, I still don't know how, but cool. Like, I believe you. And if I wanted to get into it, I would. But like, I'm like, that's cool. I just think what they're doing in fucking Catan is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't need to compare Catan to, I don't know, pre-colonial X or like post this, that, or whatever it is.
Yep.
But yeah, BookTok's the double-edged sword. Because
it really is.
While I will say my return to BookTok this year has been really great in terms of actually finding people to talk to in community and actually finding people to be friendly with. Whereas it wasn't like that when I joined in 2022 because I didn't try to. I also don't really care to swipe.
Yeah.
I just don't. And maybe like that's to my detriment. You know, that they say you should go and comment on other people's videos. You should like put your name out there, actually go be like friendly, go talk. But I'm like, I don't give a fuck about 90% of the people on BookTok anyway.
Yeah.
I give a fuck about the people that I like and I'll watch their stuff, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Who's calling me from Paris, Texas? Oh, that's my dad. Okay. So anyways, he calls me from his work phone. I just don't have it saved.
Oh, that's funny.
And so, yeah, so like BookTok is tricky. Bookstagram, fuck Bookstagram. I'm trying.
And
recently
threads.
I've been trying.
I stay away from book threads so far. I can't. It's so dramatic.
Okay, so I tried using threads the first like month it came out, and I thought it was going to be interesting. But literally every single post that got any traction was, oh my God, I'm new to threads. Let's follow for a follow.
Yeah.
Or drop your tag below if you're XYZ and let's follow each other. And I hate posts like that.
It's now more like
if you're under 5,000 followers, drop your name here. Let's all follow each other.
Yeah. It literally took Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter and put it all into one place and brought all of its drama with it.
But you know, it's so massive still though, because of just the demographics or
absolutely
where around the world where like TikTok isn't. So like the Indian community is huge on, or like the Threads is huge in places like where like they ban TikTok and they don't like to use X.
Absolutely.
Like, Threads is massive, and it's like, damn, that's cool for y'all. No.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad that again, subjective. It's also why people are like, or like kids nowadays are like, oh, you use the old people's app called Facebook. And I go, yeah, I use it all the time. But it's like, you get, just like reading, you get to choose what app you want to use. You get to choose what part of the app you use. You get to choose how this all works for you. You set your algorithm. You don't want to see that, scroll it. Don't interact with it.
I will second that, because there for a while, people always complain like, why is my 40 page showing me XYZ things? And there is something to say that the algorithm is going to naturally show you things that make you like, or that are polarizing to get you to click and engage and get outraged. But you also have the option of hitting the 3 dots and saying, do not recommend, block, mute certain words, not interested, etc. And you can curate your shit like that.
Yep, you can.
But you're too lazy to do that. And then you complain that like, why am I being shown this? Why am I being shown this? Why is this the 4th OnlyFans model that I'm being shown on here? Why is this the 10th accident on a highway that I'm being shown here? Why is the
It's because you sat through like 3 of the 10 revolution that they showed you. Yeah. You sat through it and consumed it. So they're like, oh, they actually stayed for longer than the 3 to 5 seconds that it takes to get somebody's attention. So they're staying for this kind of content. Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting game to navigate. And like, I can fully admit, I will always be that person that will admit when I'm wrong or that I've done something that, is counterintuitive or whatever. But like, I'm not going to lie. I get sucked into those accident ones where it's like part 1 and you're like watching a police video. Dude, those bad boy shows were like my favorite shows ever. I loved them. I loved the drama that they created. I still get sucked in. I will watch those car accident videos where they're like running over and like saving people. Those are my favorite things in the entire world. I love them. And do I want that on my book page? No. But guess who got sucked into like 3 of them yesterday? And now they're all popping back up on my book page again.
Yeah, that's tough.
I have 3 TikTok accounts that I navigate. And then I forget which one I'm in and which one I'm supposed to be watching what content on. So
that's fair.
It gets a little jumbled, but you're technically, I mean, people will say that the algorithm is in control, which it really is. But at the same time, accountability is lacking in today's age. And I think that you can take control at least of a portion of that.
I agree. Laura, it's been a delight. I was going to say it's been a wonder, but it's been a delight having you on today. Definitely would like to talk to you again to go deeper into some of the topics that we touched on today.
Absolutely.
I have 2 questions for you. The first one, intentionally vague, is one that I ask everybody when they come to the podcast. What is one advice you'd like to give to somebody listening today?
One thing of advice: be malleable, be ready to move. I said it multiple times today. Shifting is probably going to be your number 1 thing, and being okay with moving and making a shift. I hate risk. Risk is probably one thing that I am petrified of. I hate taking big risks. But in every day, being able to adapt and move is huge. So I think I would hope that people would be able to take that from everything I've talked about today.
I like that. I like that a lot. And it's something that people haven't said on here yet, which is always good. Where can people find you if they want to keep up with what you're doing?
Oh my gosh, I have so many places. If you want to follow me as an individual. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to follow me as an individual, I am most active on Laura Turns the Page. It is the same on TikTok and Instagram. If you want to follow my mom life stuff, which I haven't been posting a lot on, but I do have a lot of content there as well. It is Mom Life Elevated, and that is across TikTok and on Instagram as well. And then for my book podcast that I run with my sister, we talk about arcs and book reviews and do author interviews there as well. That is Blush and Burn Books.
Where is that posted?
That is on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
Spotify?
It is on Spotify. It is on Podbean, Apple Podcasts. It basically is projected out to D all of the above. If you find an app that it is not on, let me know and I will make sure to get it over to where you listen. Actually, you can even find it on Audible right now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. Wonderful. Laura, thank you once again for joining.
Thank you so much. So it's been fantastic. I like this plan. Let's talk about boundaries next time.